Greetings and welcome to The Thirsty Mage, the podcast with Persona on the brain and music in our hearts. I'm your host David Lloyd, and this week we'll be doing some follow-up on our Persona 5 Royal Adventure, and then going over some of the best music tracks from RPGs that have been released this year. Joining me for this OST jam session is fellow Heart Stealer, Casey Gibson.
Yes, you pulled me away. Somehow you did it, but for the love of the podcast, right?
Yep, yeah, I know we've been both putting in an obscene amount of hours into Persona 5. I definitely wouldn't have, like I said, I think on the last podcast, didn't envision myself going through this 100-hour RPG again, but man, once it gets its teeth in you, it's hard to play anything else. And I've got review games I'm supposed to be playing, so.
Rip. Yeah. It's actually one of my buddies I play WoW with. I wouldn't exactly peg him for a Persona guy, but when he's like, yeah, I love that game. Like he played it randomly, and he's like, I can't believe how much text and talking, because he's mostly, as far as I know, a multiplayer kind of guy. And he actually just re-picked up Royal on PC himself, and he's playing through too again. Seems to have that power, right, to be able to pull you in when you're not exactly expecting it.
I know sales are doing well. I guess it's good that you have some of your fellow World of Warcraft teammates playing it, so that you don't feel like you're the only one missing out. Now it's like, when a few of you are off for a few extra hours, you're all playing the same game elsewhere too, so that's good.
Misery loves company, but in this case, it's not misery; it's just pure ecstasy.
That's right. Yeah. There's no guilt when you're like, sorry, I got to put in another hour or two of building up my confidence. It's just immediate understanding from your teammates. It's always good.
It's funny too. It's just like, especially when you're not necessarily in a palace. You're sort of doing the same thing over and over, right? A day's more or less structured the same. Each day maybe has a little bit of variety, like, oh, hey, I got to answer a question or two in class. I see on or whoever on the way into school, and there's a little bit of, talking. But more or less, right, you go through school, afternoon, you can sort of do what you want. Nighttime, you can do what you want. To boost up those confidence, boost up your social stats or what have you. And it's so much fun. Even though like the day you can sort of get through pretty quick. The other day I was like, man, I sort of have to go to the bathroom, but I was like, I just want to sort of get to this one point. I had just pretty much unlocked the prerequisites to start the confidant with the teacher. So, in order to do that, you had to have a certain amount of guts, and then you can call her at night on the phone. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do that, and then I'll, go to the bathroom. And it was around dinner-ish time. I was like, I'll start prepping. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, like, this thing came up that, like, I can't really do. Oh, it was a Sunday in the game, right? So I was like, let me go talk to the politician, because I can only do that once a week. So I was like, I don't want to miss that. Then it was like Monday night came around, and then it was like, oh, well, actually this came up too. And I could call her tomorrow. And then it like literally like a week and like an hour went by, and I was like, oh God, I still have to pee, but I've just kept on playing. And then I talked to her, and then it was like, oh, you can only, after that first night, right? You can only call her on a Friday or Saturday night. And it was Thursday. So I was like, okay, well, let me just do something, and then I'll call her Friday, Saturday, then I'll stop playing. Oh God. It's one thing then the next. Yeah. Snowball. Totally.
Yeah. I had something similar where I had a couple confidants. You get to a certain point, and then you have to go into mementos to take out a couple demons. And so I had lined up I want to really minimize how often I'm going into mementos. So I went to a few confidants during the week, and I'm like, okay, I've got like 4 of them set up now where I can unlock, for their trees to keep on going. So now I'll go in. But what ended up happening was as soon as I triggered like the 4th person, there was like a week long thing where I couldn't do anything during the day. Like there was like a set script that was playing out during the entire week. So every day was like, "Oh, we're gonna do this today," and I'm like, "No, I want to go to Mementos."
Yeah,
And
son
then
of a gun.
it just kept going and going, and until the entire week was done. And I'm like, "Oh my god, when are they gonna let me start doing stuff again during the day?" And finally got there, but
And now
yeah,
you
there's
have too much time.
yeah, well, yeah. That's the thing is when the other thing I learned is not to do the if I know like you pretty much have to do a palace in a day to make sure you're giving yourself lots of time for confidant building. But one thing I learned is you shouldn't do it on the first day or the second day because it makes the gap between the palaces so long.
Mm.
Like it's good when you kind of have them spread out a bit, but yeah, you can't. You start to feel it when you're going like a month or a month and a half without going into a dungeon. So, but
Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's funny. I usually take that approach as well, right? It's like I'm just going to blast and do it in the first day or two. Obviously, like, you get kicked out sometimes, and I was like, nope, just keep go, go, go. When that happened in Madarame's palace, it was like, right, you get kicked out, and then I was like, all right, next day I'm going to go back in. But then I ended up sort of falling in, like, oh, I had a confidant I could sort of, boost. And then I ended up not going in for like, I think it was close to a week, which like part of me felt like dread, like, oh no, like I need to
no,
get in there
we
and
have enough
solve
time.
this thing, especially when you
Yeah,
get that text message, right? Like, hey, like, you ready to send out that calling card?
yep,
But it actually, like you said, it sort of worked out because it was like instead of just segmenting it, right? Like, okay, I'm going to play X amount of hours of just straight palace battling, doing that thing, and then I'm going to jump out, be done with it, and then have X amount of hours of just confidant building and stat building. Yeah, I think it is the approach should be right to sort of have a nice healthy balance where like you're not necessarily blasting through. Although, I mean, at the end of the day, you still try to get through the palace in one go, like you said, to maximize that off time to boost everything else up because time is limited. But
yeah.
um, as you're saying, yeah, we're sort of getting to the point where you get a lot of time to work on those things. So,
Yeah. And
but
I
yeah, so good.
have to give a shout out to the Reddit post of the Persona 5 algorithm to max out confidants and everything without having to like do a day by day guide. It's been extremely well worth it for me. I'll share the general sense of the guide just because I think it works so well, and I'll use the Arcana names just so that there's no spoilers or anything. But I know for me, like I've already maxed. I'm past the four. I just finished the fourth palace, and I've maxed out I think 5 or 6 confidants now, and I've maxed out one of the social stat. I'm debonair in my charming, so I've maxed
Dang,
out charm, and then I've got 4 on every other one. So
dang,
I'm close to maxing everything out. So this strategy works amazing, and I love that it's
he's
not.
cheating.
Yeah, I know. I love that it's not like, oh, you have to see this person this day and this person this day. It's just like, no, here,
Gives
like
you
if
options.
you just do this, do it kind of in with this priorities, and then everything's just working out great. So like you said, the politician is the sun confidant. So that's on Sundays. So you should always go visit them every Sunday that you can. So they're always number one priority. Number two priority is the fortune confidant. And one of there's a couple of reasons that it's good to get her set up. I've been really abusing 2 things. One is you can pay her money to increase your ranking with any of the confidants. So if you have someone where it's like, oh well, you can hang out with them today, but the bond won't strengthen. It's like one of those like it'll boost it, but there's no jump in the rank. You can
The
actually
most
just like
disappointing
yeah.
thing you can see.
Yep. You could pay her 5,000 yen, and it'll like boost up the stats. So there was a time where it said it wouldn't. The bond isn't strong enough, but I went and paid the money, went back, and it was like, oh yeah, it'll boost now, and I'm like, oh sweet. Um,
Just like real life, you can
yes,
pay anyone to be your friend.
that's right. Capitalism at its finest in Persona. Uh, at the same time, you can also drop another 5,000 yen to increase. It doesn't increase it right away, but it increases like if you do something, it'll increase the effect for one of your social boosts. So I like you could pay money to be like, oh, I'm gonna go do something that increases my guts. So I'll pay 5,000 yen so that the increase is actually more. I think it doubles the
More
actual
potent.
increase. So I one of the reasons why my charm got up so quickly is I went and so I got I read a book that made watching DVDs and movies like it boosts your increase if you do that. And then I went and paid the 5,000 yen for the boost. And then I watched a movie that increased my charm, so it like increased it. It doubled it twice because it had
Like a
like the
big
book increase
multiplier. Yeah.
plus yeah I had a multiplier, so it was just like I just ran through that that confidant stat really quick, so that
If
was
only
really
it
good.
was so easy in real life to,
I know, eh?
watch a couple DVDs and everyone loves you.
That's right. Or boost your knowledge up with just watching couple DVDs, and all of a sudden
Mm.
you're encyclopedic.
Now DVDs are practically a thing of the past.
I know it's crazy. Oh, I got DVDs in my house, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with. If I'm just gonna pitch them or
Yeah, when we moved, we had, like Kate had a bunch of DVDs, and I'm like, let's just get rid of them. I think we
yeah,
donated them to Goodwill, which means they're probably sitting on a shelf somewhere, rotting and
yeah,
gathering dust. But yeah, yeah, it's crazy how we've
like
seen
VHS now.
the rise and fall of VHS, the rise and fall of DVD. I guess there are still people who are out there getting like the Blu-rays for like this super high quality, you know. But
Yeah.
to be honest with you, I mean, with the PS5, I have a Blu-ray player, but I've never watched a Blu-ray.
No, well, like even like Netflix, you can get 4K, and Disney Plus is 4K. Like
I
it's
think, from what I understand, it's still better quality on the disc.
yeah,
Like if you're like really being particular about it, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, it's I'm not that much of a snob. Although nowadays I'm like not 60 frames.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not playing this game. I'll, I have one complaint that I've noticed in Persona 5 that's gotten on my
Uh
nerves though. One complaint
oh.
is having to make sure that I have the Arcana demon before I go to see the confidant,
Mm.
because I always seem to not have the right one and I have to go like fuse or buy one of
That's
them like
I keep not even doing that.
yeah.
I remember you mentioned that to me now. I gotta make that a priority.
Yeah, it's very important for sure because it's I think it's like a 50% boost if you have the right one with you. So
Mm.
so I think at the time I only had like 10, and I've made it a I've decided that I'm going to keep Arsene with me the entire game, so that already like takes up one spot in my party. So I only got 9, and then I have like I think 3 or 4 that are really strong that have like all the different elements so that it can always like nail somebody's weakness. So I only really have like 3 or 4 given empty spots at any given time, and I feel like I'm just kind of like cycling through them when I'm going through different ones. So that's been my only irritation is like, oh, I got to go to the Velvet Room before I go see this person. So
I don't know what lasted longer, Arsene or the Maple Leafs playoffs hopes, but they in my game it was quick. I think it was the first one I destroyed him,
yeah,
and like it was one of those ones where I looked for the fusions by the end result, and I clicked
oh
on
yeah,
it, and I was like,
yeah,
oh, that was Arsene. I was like, I probably shouldn't have done that right away, but you know what? It's opened up a new slot, unlike you, right? Like I'm not
yeah.
like worried about it now. And like you said, you could always buy him back later.
Yeah, I'd have to. I mean, I have to look it up, but I'm fairly certain there's no benefit to keeping Arsene around. So
Yeah, I will
it,
say the one complaint for me, and it's super minor, and honestly, like it's really not a huge factor because I don't even really use them. But how do they not have a costume preview option?
oh, I know, eh?
Especially when Royal gives you like
Yeah,
25 costumes per person. And it's like, sure, some of them you can like imagine, like, oh, the swimsuit, like, okay, yeah, I get what that's probably going to look like. But like some of them have like weird names, like, ooh, what's that going to be, you know?
yeah.
But honestly, like, I mixed and matched like 4 or 5 of them. But honestly, like, just the stock or the standard costumes to me look the best.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like I tried a couple out, and they yeah, some of them were vague. It's like gentleman, and I'm like, well, what's gentleman?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what's that supposed to be? I think the only one that I knew what it would look like right away was the Strange Journey one, because I recognized the
Yep.
name, and I'm like, okay, I know what they're going to be wearing. That's fine. But yeah, I couldn't believe there's no preview either, because yeah, it was the same way. I
There's
was
so
curious
many
about
of
it.
them. Yeah, like come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. But I'm with you. I still like. the regular costumes I think are still the best. And it's very Power Ranger esque to me. The where they, it's like that changing into something else. Like it's like they got the suit. Like they get like, how can you not have the suit? Like it's weird. Like to
Yeah,
have them running around in like bathing suits fighting
yeah,
just
it
makes no
sort of
sense to me.
takes it out. There were some cool ones that that I think looked like doable for sure, where it wouldn't like necessarily distract me. But yeah, like the bathing suit ones are totally like, oh, okay, like yeah, On's running around in a freaking bikini. Like, I guess it's for the horny boys and girls out there.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, like yeah, the Strange Journey ones sort of look cool. But again, it's just like honestly, I think like the OG costumes look super cool.
yeah. No,
Although
they're
yeah,
already
the
pretty solid.
the new cinema, that was one I tried, and it was like they get like the ginormous heads.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, so yeah, and like their uniforms, like I guess like the school uniforms and stuff, not bad. Yeah, I pulled up a website now that actually has everyone's costume, so you can sort of see it a little better. But yeah,
Should be in game.
I think oh totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just like, you know what, I'm gonna stick to the good old fashioned defaults. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, surprised that wasn't added as an option. Like I could understand almost in the original one, like, oh, there weren't that many costumes to flip through, but like now that there's like a bajillion, you'd think they'd throw it in there. But
Yeah, no, totally agree.
again, a minor complaint really in the grand scheme of it. Although the Persona 5 maid and butler ones, they've got Morgana in a little maid outfit.
That's pretty funny.
I
I
might
might
have
have
to
to try
switch her to
that.
that or him to that one.
Yeah, that's funny. All right. Well, I guess we'll go on to the topic of the episode tonight, which is some of our favorite soundtracks for the year. So we have 10 games that we're going to go through. So it's funny, like a lot of these games are also, not by coincidence, some of our favorite games of the year too, which is
Mm-hmm.
which is obvious. But yeah, we're gonna choose. We got one song per game chosen, and yeah, we'll go through the list. We got about 10 of them here. And I guess we'll start with one of my favorite games of this year, earlier this year. It's funny, I was writing some of these down and I couldn't remember if they were from this year or last year because time
Oh,
hasn't meaning anymore.
it all starts to blend together.
Yeah, but this one is from Monarch. So this is it only made sense to start with the Fubryu Persona knockoff since we started the show with the Persona 5. And the one I chose, or the song I chose for this one, is Enticing Whisper. So yeah, it's a lot of good songs in this one. The game kind of took me by surprise. Really, I really wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did, but I definitely like the combat really sucking me in, and it was just so addictive. And then the music was surprisingly good. So this was a great soundtrack for this year, I think.
Yeah, I remember you starting this one, and I think the idea was like, yeah, I'll give it a couple hours and see what it's about, you know.
Yeah,
And then yeah, bang, you fell in love with it. But honestly, those are the best kinds of games, and to me, those are the ones that end up sticking in your brain the best, right? Like for years down the road,
yeah,
because it was such a surprise, you know. Like for me with Ease 8, right? Like I really had no experience with the series, and like I was like, I took it on a whim, like, okay, whatever. And then, yeah, knock my socks off. So, and now I often look back at that game super, super highly, you know? So I feel like this will be a game you'll be remembering for quite some time. And this
hmm
Monarch, I wonder if there will be a sequel.
I hope so. I don't. I'm not sure how well it did, but I would play a sequel for sure. I thought it was really good.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Now for a second one, I can't remember. Did you play this game, Casey?
So I played the demo originally, and then I forget what happened. I didn't get it.
Okay.
And then just a couple months ago, actually, after Xenoblade 3, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm sort of in the mood for a strategy game. So I started playing the demo again, and I was liking it. It was fun, and I picked up the game, and then I forget. I
Forgot
forget.
you bought it.
I have it. I have it sealed in underneath the wrap, underneath my TV, and I haven't played it yet, but I have it sealed in there. And it's one of those games like I do want to play it. It's beautiful. Again, like obviously I think the demo is the first 3 chapters or so.
Yeah.
So you know and there was a couple hours. I think like 2 hour demo. So the music I had heard from the limited time spent with it was really nice. And to pair with the really awesome HD 2D, right?
Yep.
Was definitely left a mark. I do really want to play this game at some point, and I it's in there ready to rock and roll when I do decide to when I finish Persona in 4 months.
That's right. Yeah. And so the game that we've been talking about here is Triangle Strategy, and the song that we chose was Moment of Truth.
Yeah, sorry, I started rambling on. Did we announce that the game before I started those ramblings?
No, no,
Oh
but it's
gosh,
okay. It's funnier.
yeah. They're like, what could he possibly be talking? Well, I guess HD2D
Yeah,
limits it to a few games, and we all know it was an Octo Stink Path Traveler.
that's right. Well, our next game on the list, I'm fairly certain you didn't play this one because I think this was Jordan and I that played this one. So this game is Rise of the Third Power. This was a little. It was an indie game that came out. Oh man, it was I think late spring, I think, or early summer, something like that. And it was pretty good. Again, another game that was that surprised me. I wasn't expecting it, but yeah, it was good, and I really it was a good OST. There was a few of them that sounded a little generic to me, but well, the one that really stood out for me was the boss battle theme.
Yeah, I didn't pick this one up, but the graphics look absolutely wonderful. I'm a sucker for good old pixel art, but
Yep.
I've seen some screenshots in the towns, and then what's really jumping off is the enemy design.
Yes. Yeah.
Seems really, really cool and unique.
Yeah, and I like the script was good. It was there's a lot of comedy in this game, so it's a pretty fun game. I really appreciated the sense of humor. It was great.
Heck yeah! Now, and did you play that one? I see it's on Steam. Did that come out for Nintendo as well?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I actually reviewed it
Yep. Okay,
on Switch.
I'm
I
seeing
think.
here
Yeah.
too. It's Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and Windows
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I'm
Mac.
pretty sure I played it on Switch.
Sweet. Yeah, it looks like I said, looks really nice. $20, not a nice bargain game. Well,
Yeah, well, and I'm sure it'll be on sale because it's been out for a little bit too. So, good thing to throw on a wish
winter
list or something
sale,
like that.
winter sale upcoming.
Yep, for sure.
Now, when did you get your Steam Deck again? Was it
It's only been
before?
a couple months. I definitely didn't have this game when because this came out before I got my Steam Deck for
Well,
sure.
no, I was more so asking because I was wondering if you had it for the Steam summer sale. Because
Oh
if you haven't, and this is your
no,
first
I think I
sale,
just got it after. Yeah, this will be my first big sale coming up.
woo, you better start saving now.
I know
Take some
that's
extra
it's
hours at work.
yeah yeah that or put out some kind of better start busking on the weekends.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Pull out a
Bar
guitar.
back at night or something.
That's right.
Yeah, at the Thirsty Mage, we got David Barback.
Yeah. Bring me your tips. I need them.
Yep.
Now, this next game up, Elden Ring. This is a game that I know you had a hoot of a time playing earlier this year.
Yeah, I didn't get very far. It kicked my butt a little bit, and I fell off. But it's one of those ones. Honestly, it's all Souls games. It's like I like the idea of them are so amazing, and
Yeah.
especially Elden Ring. The world was so cool and a little bit different, right? Because you could sort of grind it out a little bit to alleviate some of the difficulty. But yeah,
Yeah. I
I,
went with Magic User to alleviate that difficulty. As soon as I started getting the powerful spells, I was just standing from like 100 meters away, just flucking the fireballs at him.
see, that's my problem. I'm like, no, I'm gonna be a melee boy like I
Yeah.
want, and then I get my butt kicked, and it's like, well, maybe I should just, you know.
Pull out a wand.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. So a lot of the tracks, the OST was very more kind of ominous music than anything, kind of like slow and ominous. So I went with Invader just because it's a little bit got a. I'm more of a high tempo guy, so the Invader music when someone comes to invade your game, the music kind of picks up the tempo. So that's why I went with this one.
Get you on the edge of your seat a little bit.
Yep. Yep.
If you
And,
weren't already there from the
that's
devastating
right.
bosses and such.
That's right. If it wasn't already hard enough, there's someone coming
Yeah.
to kill you from behind. Yeah, I guess we'll stick with the action RPG theme here and go Stranger Paradise Final Fantasy Origins next. So this is kind of I have had kind of the opposite experience with this one, where I was really excited to play this, and then it kind of fell off the wagon. It the battle, like everything felt kind of samey to me. Like it just kind of felt like I was going through the
Oh,
motions.
rinse and
So
repeat. Yeah.
yeah, so I ended up falling off about halfway to 3/4 through, I guess. I mean, it was fun watching Jack loses bananas on people, and a lot of fun comedic value to it, and a lot of Final Fantasy nostalgia, which was great. But uh, yeah, I don't know.
Not
We'll
enough to
see.
overcome it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to give her another go when when there's not so much going on, and see if I have a better playthrough on the second one around. But the theme I went with, I just went with one of the battle themes for this one because again, I like the high tempo, get your blood flowing type of music.
Now, Yeah, do you have any idea the reception to this game in like on the grand scale? Do you think it's something they're going to try a second one, or I know because this was more Soulsy, right? Sort of what
Yeah,
we're going for. So I wonder if it was enough of a successful trip into that realm to warrant a second one.
yeah, it's hard to say because like I didn't really hear too much about after it came out, and there has been DLC, so it must have gone good enough. Like it seems like one like Square is usually pretty quick to be like, yeah, this game didn't meet our expectations. So they didn't say
Mhm.
anything about that for Strangers, so it makes me think that it must have like they didn't say anything either way, so it must have just been fine, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, it didn't blow the doors off, but it
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure
wasn't a
Nomura
fart in the
was.
wind.
I think pretty sure this was Nomura's project, so it would lead me to believe that if he enjoyed making it, he'll probably do another one.
Yeah, he's got enough sway to hey, we're doing
Yeah,
it.
that's right. It was like as soon as you finish another Kingdom Hearts, then you can go back. That's probably what Kata says.
Oh God,
The
Kingdom
deal.
Hearts 3.927
Yeah.
times 2.
Now, next one on our list, I know is the game that's pulling you. You got Persona 5 pulling you from one side, and this game pulling you from the other.
Yeah, yeah, this one definitely my pick. World of Warcraft Classic, Wrath of the Lich King. Yeah, so we've listed some more upbeat music these last two. This one a little bit more relaxing, very atmospheric. So a lot of the music, I mean, there are definitely bombastic, parts and really like sort of epic, music in throughout the whole game. Um, but some of my favorites are just sort of like the atmospheric zone music. In an MMO, you have your sort of bunch of different zones and you shift out, and they all sort of have their own feeling and vibe to it. And one of the two starter zones is the Howling Fjord, and I hopefully said that right. And I always used to call it the Howling Forge because it's
Yeah.
FJORD, and I was like, yeah, J's silent. But yeah, this one a little bit more relaxing, but some of the most amazing. Oh, I love it. And what's great is with this music, it sort of moves like the zone sort of progression. You can bounce around a little bit, but a lot of times you'll go Howling Fjord to Grizzly Hills, and Grizzly Hills also has incredible music. So it's a real nice 1-2 punch. But yeah, uh, I love this game.
Yeah. Next game on our list, I have the same feelings about. It's from my Legends of Heroes. This is Trails from Zero, And it's funny because I was going through a couple of my favorite songs and then realized that I had already featured them in previous OST
Yeah,
episodes.
yeah.
So I'm
I've heard
like,
this one
I
before.
can't
Dang.
do this, can't do this one again. So I had to go through some of my other ones, some other. I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches to choose from anyway. So there's no wrong answers. So I ended up going with a Gleam of Septium.
Hmm.
So yeah, a great game. I know. I know you played. I think you played a little bit of it when it first came out, and great that they got the official English translation there on for the consoles, and it sounds like it's doing pretty well. I mean, NISA has already started announcing more. Like they've got the actual dates up for Trails to Azure and for the one after that, Trails to Reverie, I guess it is, and I think I can't remember. I think they got Boundless Trails. I can't remember if that one's ended up getting a release date or not. But it's all starting to come out. It felt like it's been forever since the announcement for these games to come out, but they're finally coming out.
Yeah, they must do well because anytime like I'm over on Reddit on like the JRPG subreddit and someone's looking, hey, like looking for a recommendation. Everyone's always like trails, trails, trails,
Yeah,
to the point where I think it's actually a meme over there. Like, pretty much like, oh, you haven't tried a game, trails,
Trails.
So it's but you don't become a meme without good reason. So
Yep,
yeah, no, I know these games are skyrocketing, which is great for you because I know you love them to
makes me
death, and
happy. Yep,
there'll be more coming.
keep them coming.
Yep.
Next game on the list. I know you loved it. I was a little lukewarm about it,
Sad to
but
hear.
I know. Again, maybe a game that I'll enjoy some other time. But it was a repetitive battle mechanics that just sucked the life out of me.
Yep, that seems to be the trend for you on the games that fell off here. But yep,
Yep.
we got some Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and we went with the Kevis Colony Night rendition.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because this game, I love this game. The story is really incredible. I really love the characters and all that good stuff. But the music, right? Xenoblade has become known for having really wonderful soundtracks. And it's funny, I don't want to say this soundtrack is bad at all. It's got a bunch of really awesome pieces. I think a lot of the time, especially as an off-seer, right? And you play the music and like the flute and all that, like it all fits together. It's really great. But like unlike some of like the first two games, and X to a lesser extent, I feel like there was not as much standout music. Like I feel like it was all really good, but there wasn't like that one like
Banger.
like that stood out above the rest.
Mm.
But that's not to say it doesn't have really great music throughout, as you just heard. So
Yeah, it's funny. I was considering like the flute, like the little flute thing, but then I'm like, you know what? I bet you people are probably sick of that that song by now because it gets played so much in the game.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know that was definitely like a standout for that one. But yeah, like you said, Xenoblade Chronicles just keeps on going with its great music. So nothing changed there. So the next game on the list, it was funny because I'd actually picked a song. This is another one of these things like with voice of cards. There've been so many, I've forgotten when they all came out.
Yep.
So the initial song I picked was from the first one, which I thought came out this year, but it was actually in October of last year. So I had to change it up. So I went with one from the latest game because I knew it definitely came out this year, and that's from oh man, it's got to be the third game now. I can't even
Crazy that
remember.
they banged out so many of these games in such a short period of time.
Yeah, so this is from Beasts of Burden, and I went with Primal Power.
House of Cards, Bob.
Yeah, Bobby, that's right. But yeah, I think one of the standout things, like Voice of Cards in itself, is kind of a pretty traditional RPG. Like it's very your traditional turn based. There's very simplification of everything. So it's pretty easy to get into, and so to me, what stands out most about the game is like the both the music and kind of the sound design with like the narration and the sound effects and everything. So it just makes sense that they had good music. So yeah, it's a great OST. So,
Heck yeah.
but I know the last game on our list. I think it actually stood out for its music because I'm pretty sure they had they were like did they I can't remember if they actually remastered the music or just uh, I just know that this was a big title that everyone wanted to hear. They were all excited for the music, and there was again embarrassment of riches to choose from. But and I can't remember. Did you pick up Live Alive?
No, this was I played the demo and I enjoyed it, and then it was sort of after Xenoblade. Again, I
Right.
had
Yeah.
full intentions to go Live Alive, and then I was like, then I was on the fence, and then I went with Triangle Strategy, and it's still in its wrapper. So
Yeah.
yeah, it could have been sitting under my TV in its wrapper, but instead its HT2D brethren is there.
Yeah. No, I was actually. I think I was the same way. I think I was gonna get it. I played the demo, and then I ended up picking up Xenoblade Chronicles, and then yeah, I just kind of forgot. I know Paige and Jordan, and like they reviewed it and they did an episode on it, and I knew I wasn't gonna be able to play it in time, so I think that's why I was like, I'll just leave it for now, and then just haven't gone back to it. But
Yeah, one of
um,
these days. I'd like to. I'm definitely a fan of like weird. Hey, this is a super old game, and we're bringing it back.
yeah,
And I sort of like to reward, like Square and other companies that do that because I want that to become more popular.
yeah. And I mostly chose this one. I like the music, but I laughed at the title of the song because as of recording, I think it's like November 5th or 6th, something like that. And this is the hottest I've ever remembered any November in my Canadian history.
Mm.
And the name of the song is "Nice Weather, Ain't It?"
Now, is that a good thing or bad thing for you that it's
It's a
warm?
good thing. The older I get, the less I want snow. I'm to the point where it's like, yeah, global warming sucks, but if I only have like a month or two of snow, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, you do well down in South Carolina.
Yeah, I'm probably a prime candidate of someone who might travel south, or maybe I'll move out with Jordan out in Vancouver and enjoy the no snow,
Mm.
because yeah, it's when you're not. I don't play too much outdoor hockey anymore. I think I'm a little
You're
too
not out
old
there making snow
for the
angels.
GT sliding down hills and stuff. So snow just doesn't do it for me anymore.
Mm. I miss snow.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's usually like I'll enjoy it for the first month, and then after you drive through like that gross brown slush,
Yeah, the slut. Yep.
you're just so tired of it. You're like, this is of no use to anyone. Just I just wish it was gone.
Yeah, that was for New York. It'd be like I would like the cold up until like the end of January, and then when it's like getting almost close to April and it's still super cold, it's like
Yeah,
okay now. But yeah, or like the worst is when you went into New York City after a snowstorm, because yeah, like oh the city looks amazing, and then yeah, like 6 hours later, like you said, that slush and it all
yeah. It's all
conglomerates.
mixing with the garbage and the
Yeah, right
dirt and
around
the
the corner of each block. So it's like, oh,
yeah,
you got to step through it, and your shoes get all wet. I
yeah.
mean, fortunately, I didn't go into the city that often, but yeah, ugh.
Yeah, well, that's our OSTs for 2022 so far. I'm sure it's when I was doing it, I was like, I bet you there's a few of them I missed and that I'm going to hear about, and that's good. That's fine. I'm sure we'll do another one of these episodes. So if anyone's out there and wants to hit us up on Twitter or Discord to let us know, hey doofuses, why didn't you put this on there? I'm game for that. You let me know. I'll write it down. I'll keep a note. We'll get it on there.
Yep, and we're gonna have some more good games coming out this year. Still, that's gonna probably have Dragon Quest Treasure is gonna have some really banger music.
Yeah.
Same with Crisis Core and stuff. So,
Yeah. I think Harvestella came out yesterday, so I'm sure that'll
oh,
have
good
some good bangers
gravy!
on there.
I forgot that was so soon.
Yeah. Tactics Ogre coming out in a couple weeks,
God
one
help
to two
us.
weeks. I know. Pokemon coming out in like 2 weeks, I think.
Eh. I know it's
Yeah.
probably gonna be good. It looks good for sure, and
Yeah. Well, I guess it might be coming out in 2 weeks, but that's probably a Christmas gift for me.
yeah, like I said, I think Pokemon, and I've actually not RPG related at all, but I've been having an itch to play some Call of Duty as well.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, you know what, that might be a good 1-2 punch for Christmas.
Yep.
Be able to play some quick matches in Call of Duty, and then jump over and check out what all the fuss is about, and see if it's just another Pokemon game or not.
You got 200 gigabytes of space available on your PS5 for Modern Warfare?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to clear out some space for sure. And it's funny, and you just like then you think of Persona, and I know obviously drastically different games, but
Yeah.
what was it, like 30 to 40 gigs or something,
Yeah,
like
something like that. Yeah.
for like 100+ hour game?
Yep.
I think
Yeah.
it's just Activision and Call of Duty. They don't respect your space. They're like whatever, like deal with it. We're not
Yeah.
going to compress anything.
Yeah.
You're getting the best of the best.
That frying pan that's in the background needs its 4K texture, and
Oh,
you're gonna shut up and download it.
yep, and it's going to look amazing. I
Yeah.
did hear like some of the early impressions, and I guess it's been out for a minute, but they were just like, yeah, this is definitely a next gen game. And a lot of people were like, it feels like it was really expensive to make this game. Like, they really, it seemed like they wanted to make sure it was looking nice.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I can't complain when they want to. If they want to put the work in to make it look nice, then I guess I'll make the room. Now that I got the fast internet, deleting an ad and's not so big a deal anymore. But I definitely do not have the confidence yet to try to attempt to put a SSD in my PS5.
Mm. It would be nice. How much do those suckers go for? Do you know?
I think you can get them for like $150, like a good one. I think they're as low as 100, and I'm sure like sky's the limit on the
Yeah,
outgrowth
you could probably
values.
spend 500 and change.
But I think there's like a one that's specifically like this is the PS5 verified and authorized by Sony version, and I think it's like 150, and it's
Yeah.
like a one or 2 terabytes, something like
Oh,
that. But
that's not too bad for an SSD.
no, it's not too bad, and you gotta. It's more the that you have to
You have to open
take
it
the
up, right?
sides. Oh yeah, you have to open it up and stick it in there. So, which is, I mean, at the end of the day, it's probably not that much work and not that scary. But
And it's probably honestly better than like the Wii U back in the day, where you had like like an external hard drive, and then it just
that's right.
becomes cluttered and a pain in the neck.
Yeah, I feel a little bit better about opening up my PS5 if I thought I could replace it within a timely manner, because it's still impossible to find in stores from what I'm what I'm
Yeah.
told. So
So I'm looking. I just looked it up real quick. You can add 250 to 4 terabytes
holy smoke.
if you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bet you a 4 terabyte SSD is probably the cost of a PlayStation 5. So
Oh, I'd imagine. Yeah. Cool. Well, I think that will do it for this week's episode. I want to thank you, Casey, for joining me for this discussion of OSTs.
a
And
pleasure as always. Yeah, sorry we had to punt the recording a few days, but we got it in.
yeah, no, yeah, we got her in, and sounds great. And yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking maybe a little bit more Persona 5 on a future episode as we're start winding it down. With the amount of hours we're putting in, we're flying through it. I feel like so.
Yeah, but we're still really actually winding up.
Yeah, that's right. It's like
We're not on the wind down yet.
we're probably not even halfway through yet, and I'm like, yeah, we're getting near the end. It's like, yeah, you're halfway there, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. It's just. I mean, honestly, that's what really held me back from playing this game for so long. Is I knew I would love it, and I knew I'd put time in, but man, yeah, it's a beefy boy, and that's for sure.
Yep. But yeah, we'll keep on going, and we'll see how it goes. So, but I want to thank everyone for listening, and head on over to our website for any. We got some new reviews up there, and our Discord. And if you're one of the ones that are jumping ship from Twitter with the way it's Titanic sinking seems to be going these days. I don't know if it's all just talk, but we'll be over on the Discord channel on from thethirstymage.com.
Oh,
If for anyone
it's just talk. They'll
looking for
No
new
one's going anywhere.
no, probably not, but
David's already got his year's worth of blue check pre-ordered and
yeah,
paid
pre
for.
that's right. I got the pre-order. Yeah, and hopefully I won't have to send my ID, and that's the one thing that he said that I was happy about. It's like we'll give you the blue check, and you don't even have to check your ID. Like, yep, sounds good to me.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Screw that.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see everyone out at the next episode. Bye.
Adios.